Hey, Masters of Speed, it's Terra Master, that's Drake, and today is Team JDG's first live react video. So, as you can see on your screen, teammate Cursive made a video called I Fixed the Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel Limited List for Konami. And we're going to watch it, and we're going to tell you what we think about all these terrible takes.
All right.
All right. Also, headphone warning in case you're not familiar with Cursive's intro here.
Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Cursive and welcome back to another video. And
Also, I guess if you have motion sickness, it's a warning for all the camera shaking.
today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to bring you guys a discussion going over why the ban list for Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duels is unironically really bad. So for those of you who are unaware,
unironically really bad, that's a new
list was effective on September 10th of 2022. This went into effect right before YCS Niagara happened.
Alright, so we're getting a nice history of the
ban list trend for Speed Duels.
Yeah.
This trend is every single time we get a new product, a few weeks or months later,
oh,
we
look at
limited
that.
list. It should be saying limited list because technically nothing is banned, which is incorrect. Although the entire community was extremely excited to see the very first Speed Duel limited list come out, especially because this meant Speed Duels was getting some love, it is
no moth after 3 years.
That the list was extremely flawed right from the get-go.
That it was.
We had cards like Foolish Burial and Reinforcement of the Army on the list. We had Cocoon and Parasite both put to the same section, creating more bulk, and we had all of the staples in Breaker, Warrior Lady, Book of Moon, and Cosmic, as well as Metaverse on the first list.
Yes, the random Metaverse. Who can forget?
The original list
Yeah,
like
that was weird.
on the screen here.
I suppose you could just put Paranoid at
below
1 and not have the skill unlimited anything.
Right?
Lists. But essentially, right at the gate, we had a lot of issues with the list, but the fact that we had a list at all was way more important than the issues that we had with it. So we went forward and we just took this list and ran with it. And honestly, it created a pretty good format.
For a while.
But every single time we've gotten a new list since then, we've basically just made the list worse.
Yep.
Going into our second effective list here
In ways.
on January 21st.
Not just made it worse, but look here, it made it bigger.
That's kind of why it's worse.
Exactly. It's just bulky.
We had Metaverse come off, which was very, very big.
Yeah, they've taken
Cyber
so September till now, right? We're close to a year. They've taken off one card.
That's crazy.
Yes, it is.
And they moved Foolish from 1 to 2. I think that was about it.
Yeah, but like it can honestly come off, right?
Oh yeah.
We don't have something incredibly broken with Foolish. We don't.
Right. And Rhoda could be at 2
right.
at least.
Yeah. So it's just there's just the issue is there's not a lot of like easing on things. There's just a lot of like restricting.
Mm-hmm.
And Crystal Raigeki to the 3F section.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about Crystal Raigeki.
Rest in peace to Crystal Beast for no reason.
For absolutely no reason. It's a GX deck. What's your problem with it being good?
Fine, because it's in the right direction, which should be unlimited. But once again, a lot of issues, especially in the 3F section. And then moving into our newest limited list here.
Yes, the current list.
We have even more issues. First off, nothing came off the list.
First of all, now you remember it was like 3 minutes ago. The picture of the first list, right?
Yeah.
Look how much bigger this is.
It's like doubled or more. It's crazy. The limited 3 section is so big.
It's absurd.
Do you want to play cards? Sorry, they're all limited 3.
Yeah, you want to play cards? No, you don't get to play cards.
A huge red flag. Second off, we had offerings put to 1. Why? It literally skips your next draw phase and is spot removal.
It's a 2 for 1.
That's not a broken card. It should not be at 1 in any regard.
Agreed. It's a 2 for 1.
We added Shell to the 2 of section.
It is offerings is one of the most inefficient spot removal spells.
So offerings is interesting because it should be like Joey banned. because offerings is so good in that deck.
Yeah, but offerings is not the problem, right?
Right.
That's what
Yes.
the point is.
Mhm.
Offerings by itself is just a 2-for-1,
Well,
usually inefficient removal spell.
you know what else is really good? Twisted Personality. Let's hit Shell.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
Shell was the issue. We added Twisted Personality to a different section on the list
Yep.
than Ladybug.
Yep.
We incorrect.
Yeah, just the inability to
Yeah.
read cards.
You didn't even pair the Ladybug with the TP. That's so odd.
Like, literally the inability to read cards. Like, the Ladybug is what makes TP way more broken than it needs to be. Why are those two apart? It makes no sense. You just cut one Ladybug from the TP Ladybug decks. It's so weird.
Yep.
Correctly hit
And you got
Cyber
Volcanic
Angels,
Shell.
and we added
Yeah, and you got Volcanic Shell
as another staple to the 3-of section. This is all wrong. Genuinely, unironically, over.
Yeah, I think CA's with the 2 cards, the same thing he talked about with Parasite earlier, right? Where you didn't have to put 2 cards on limit 3 or limit 2 or whatever. You could have just taken 1 card and put it at 1 and just called it a day.
That's fair.
Half of these cards, or exactly half, I should say, of these cards need to be taken off the list.
He's going to take off
right
half
now.
the cards. That'll be
So
fun.
let's get into our changes. So first things first, here's the list. Here's the edits. Cyber Dragon comes off.
Good.
Parasite Paranoid comes off.
Okay.
Volcanic Shell comes off.
Yeah.
Cyber Angel Ben 10 comes off. Allure of Darkness comes off. Book of Moon comes off. Foolish Burial comes off. Offerings to the Doomed. Reinforcement of the Army. Union Hanger. Crystal Raigeki, and Wall of
Forgot
Disruption.
about Union Hanger.
These are
Yeah, right. It was so bad. Okay. So just looking at the cuts, I want to say I hope there's going to be something done about Parasite
Yeah, you're still gonna have to address CA
and CA.
Mock
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to. You gotta
And
do something
Joey.
about that. Yes.
and TP.
yes. So
All right,
let's
he does
see what
for those
happens.
4 decks.
Yeah.
all cards that can come off. That is 12 cards, and there is only 24 cards on the list. That is exactly.
I just want to say, look how much cleaner this looks like already.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
half of the list that can be taken off right now and just make the format better. To go ahead and talk about it here, Cyber Dragon never needed to be hit in the first place.
Nope.
Volcanic Shell never needed to be hit in the first place.
No.
Cyber Angel Ben 10 is an incorrect hit for CAs. This isn't advanced.
Yeah, but Cyber Angel Ben 10 was the card that was good in the TCG, so it's gotta be.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
gotta
we
be
talked
the
about
issue,
we talked
right?
about this in the one of the podcasts.
We did.
It's
We did.
you hit Ida-10 instead. It's the harder hit. But
Yeah. Ida 10 is the better card for a pure 20 card CA deck from the card pool we have.
funny enough, it doesn't really matter which way they hit it because like I don't think CA's is that competitive right now
Yeah.
with
But-
the way they did hit it. So
Right.
I'm not really like upset with the way they hit CA.
I know, but the issue is just like the efficiency of the list, honestly, right? So
Advanced format. This is Speed Duel format. Allure of Darkness never needed to be hit. Book of Moon never needed to be hit. It's a staple, but it's a very fair card. Foolish Burial never needed to
Book of Moon, I want to say, is not only a very fair card, it's also a somewhat skillful card.
Yeah, I think if you have Book of Moon on your limited list, you have too weak of a format. Just honestly.
I agree with that. That makes sense. Although it hasn't been on the limited list for advanced before, so maybe not always.
And it was wrong then, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Because yeah, it was limited after GOAT format.
Yeah.
Which it was at 3 during GOAT, and after GOAT it went to maybe even
I
1.
think 1.
But
for a
like it should
while.
have never been touched.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I honestly didn't like.
So it's
it was
Konami
a
has a
huge
history
problem playing GOAT.
of Konami has a history of, oh, this card's played a lot, that means it needs hit. Which is like, that's not true. Because a card's played a lot does not mean it's a problem.
Right. It's a lack of like watching and understanding your own game kind of thing, which is funny.
Right.
That happens.
Right. Like, oh, a lot of top decks played more than one Book of Moon. Like, okay, let's hit it. No,
Yeah.
let's not.
Yeah. You do wonder if one of the flaws is that like you don't have players who play the game regularly and at a high level are the people making the decisions, right? Because I think it's the competitive players as far as the ban list goes, right? Probably have the best understanding of what the biggest problems are competitively,
Sure.
and what cards make formats less skillful, less interactive, etc. Right?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to find some kind of a way to integrate the opinions of top level competitive players, and I'm not including myself because I'm not one, but just somebody.
For Speed Duel, I mean,
Well,
you're
for Speed Duel,
qualified enough.
sure, but for Yu-Gi-Oh in general, no.
Sure.
It's I think that's something that needs to be done in general. Okay, anyway, back to the video.
Be hit. This is Speed Duels, not advanced. Offerings, I just spoke about this. It's fine. Same thing with Rhoda. They killed unions when they murked the skill. They did not need to touch.
Yeah, I remember when Rhoda got hit and we thought we're gonna get e-call, and
Yeah,
we
or
never
a good hero.
Yeah,
Honestly, even just like, oh, maybe they're giving us a good hero. Maybe that's why they hit it. No.
no, just nothing. Just like, what are you trying to do? Stop us from searching Warrior Lady? Like, it's
Oh, you know,
a
Jaden,
limit
the
3
whole
card.
like the whole main character of the anime we're currently making product for. Let's make his deck bad and hit cards he would play.
Yeah, and hit
What?
support cards that he might
Yeah.
actually have a use for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 Rhoda heroes could be playable. I mean, that might still be cope, but
But it'll be a decent rogue deck, maybe,
they're
right?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. They're
there's
certainly
something.
unplayable. With it at 1, they're definitely unplayable.
You could have some level of consistency there with 3 Rhoda, and you just don't have that right now, right? So that's a problem.
Hanger, and even out from the gate, when unions were an issue, Hanger was not the correct hit. It was Scramble. Crystal Raigeki should have never been on the list, and Wallet Disruption is just another staple and actually encourages fun strategic gameplay because you can play around the card, but it is still very strong.
Right.
Don't love
All
Wall.
these cards can come off. It is
I
genuinely
don't love Wall, but I
insane.
do agree it shouldn't be on the list.
It probably shouldn't be.
Yeah. Especially with Joey existing. I don't
I don't think it makes the format more fun
No.
if it's unlimited. I don't know if I agree with that,
No.
but it probably doesn't need hit either.
Yeah. Well, the problem with Wall, honestly, as far as like fun goes, is as opposed to like Sakuretsu Armor or Widespread Ruin, right? It's like a curse, to say our joke, where
Yeah.
the permanent attack loss can sometimes just kind of like not only lose you that turn and that monster, but it can just straight up
hitting-
lose you the game.
The fact that it hits more than one of your cards.
Right.
You have 2 attack position monsters and they both lose 16. That is usually a bigger deal than activate widespread, you lose your biggest monster.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, like maybe Wall does need to be on the list. Honestly, like I don't think it's the worst thing on the list, but I don't love it on the list either, because when you go to make a deck, you pick your limited 3 card. There's so many cards on limited 3 that it's like, okay, you picked your limited 3 card, you don't get any of these.
Yeah.
What these are every good card in the format.
Yep.
Like, okay, so I have to run mediocre card. I mean, look at what has been topping big events recently. 0 Gravity.
Yep. As trap. Yep. As your like.
I'm sorry, that is
3-0 trap.
that is a bad Yu-Gi-Oh card. And
Correct.
because of the limited 3 list, or the limited list in general, it's one of the best things we got. The card's great.
Well, 0 Gravity limited 3 soon.
But more
Possibly.
cards coming off the list, we need to introduce a forbidden section to Speed Duels.
Okay,
I
good.
understand we want to keep things with the limited 1, 2, and 3. That's how Yu-Gi-Oh always starts. But it can't
Yes.
stay like that forever. There are problems.
They always don't like
cards,
banning
and there
things right
always
away.
Will be. There's going to be unfair cards in every single format, and if you don't have rotation, they need to be dealt with in another way. This way is just banning them. So let's go ahead and talk about what needs to be added to the forbidden section. So here's what the list currently looks like with everything taken off. Here's some more changes. Hold up. Before we go any
Whoa.
further with
Oh,
today's
God, we
topic,
gotta skip
I wanna take a
this.
$1 disclaimer.
Nope.
is this time of forbidden card is Cocoon of Ultra Evolution. This skill card is currently, at the time of recording this, in the limited 2 section alongside Parasite Paranoid. Is this technically okay? Sure, but tributing your opponent's monster and getting a free summon and then getting a shuffle back later is still overall a very unfair interaction.
Yes.
Skills should not be interacting with your opponent, they should be making your deck more consistent.
Yep.
Although technically putting these at 2 lowers the consistency, like I said, it is still an issue. And putting both these at 2 or putting them both at 1 is just adding more bulk to the list. So how do we just fix this? Ban one of them. Parasite Paranoid is overall a much more interesting card than Cocoon of Ultra Evolution.
I think it's a cool card.
Let's ban Cocoon of Ultra Evolution. Like I said, this could be flip-flopped with Parasite Paranoid, but I'm choosing to ban.
I prefer banning the skills
too. First ban here is Cocoon of Ultra Evolution.
Absolutely.
Second and third is 2 more skills, and the only other skills on the list, that is I'm just going to attack and Twisted Personality.
Okay.
I'm just going to attack, maybe not the most unfair skill ever printed, but definitely a very strong one.
It's debatable. I think it warps deck building a lot when I'm just gonna attack is meta relevant, because you hesitate to add battle traps to your deck for one skill, right?
But you want them for the other decks, right?
Yeah.
But no, the thing about Joey is context. Okay, so we were just talking about how Zero Gravity is a bad Yu-Gi-Oh card, but it's a great Speed Duel card when you look at the limited list. It's the same thing with the Joey skill. It's not really that good. Now you took every other powerful one and
nerfed it,
and either nerfed them so they have new card text now where they're not good, like Unions, or you made them unplayable like Moth, or you took parts of their deck and put them on the limited list. So now, in that context, yeah, Joey's insane. I'm sorry. Like, that skill's just very good in that context.
I just also think, like, as a rule, if I was designing skills, I would never want to make a skill that negated a card, right? Even if it was a little situational.
Not more than once. Not
Right.
like more than once per duel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not consistently every turn giving you the ability to negate card, because I don't want the skill to warp your opponent's deck building.
Exactly.
I want the skill
that's a good point.
to help your deck, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be a meta, right? But yeah, exactly. It shouldn't be like, oh man, I can't run traps because there's a skill that negates traps.
Right. It should
I think that negate once per duel.
Okay, I'm building for Cyber Angels, and Cyber Angels are very consistent because of Machine Angel Ascension, right?
Yeah.
So I have to build around a consistent CA deck.
Yeah,
I have to actually,
not because their skill says negate your
not because their skill says negate your traps. Like, that's weird.
Sorry, Cyber Angels are unaffected by whole trap cards.
Dude, yeah, can you imagine? Yeah. So that's just a little like design philosophy.
Being able to once per turn just negate a battle trap, and the fact that it is just so generic and played in every single deck isn't how this format should be played. We should have archetype specific skill cards and be playing different skills for every deck, preferably. Having a generic skill like I'm just going to attack is unhealthy and doesn't promote creativity. So let's just go ahead and let's get rid of it. It's already been identified as an issue by Konami. Let's make it forbidden. And Twisted Personality is broken. It's another one of those Matt era skills like Cocoon still is, and like Inner Conflict was, that are just absolutely absurd, especially when we're not printing strong enough stuff in the GX and onward era of Speed Duels. Twisted Personality needs to go. Was unfair with Volcanics, is unfair, I should say, with Vampires. Let's get rid of it.
Yeah, TP is going to be an ongoing problem, I think, as long as it's around. Because every time you give us like cards or archetypes that pay life points, TP gets a new deck. Like with Vampires, right? As soon as we saw Vampires, day one we're testing with TP. Just because they have 2 easily activatable effects that pay 500 life points. So that's 2 counters easily per turn.
Yeah, you can let's say you're forced to go first.
Yeah.
Okay. But you open like a retainer. So you're like, okay, retainer and familiar. Cool. You're gonna discard a card from your opponent's hand before they even get a turn.
Right. And you're
That's
searching
wild.
off of both your effects. So you're
Yeah.
not losing value for getting your
Mhm.
discard from your opponent.
And then of course you have Ladybug still because it's not on the same part of the ban list
No,
as
it's not.
the same part of the limited list
Right.
as Twist Personality.
So
So
you pay 1,000 life points to make your opponent's hand size 3, opening hand size, and then you can gain 500 of that back in the same turn if you drew the ladybug, which is just absurd. So you, for the cost of 500 life points, you discard a card from your opponent's hand. Any Yu-Gi-Oh player would take that. That's insane. And you don't lose a card, by the way, because your effects also replace themselves, your monsters. Even if you're like, well, they have 0 defense. Okay, but they search for a vampire monster and a vampire spell trap. So,
yep.
Zoma the Spirit also needs to be moved to Forbidden.
Oof.
Yes.
Is it okay at 1? Sure. You can deal with it. But does it still steal games?
Yeah, I was
and
going to say this. Yep.
win games that have no right being won? It does. Is Zoma better at 1? Sure. Is it still a very unhealthy card? Yes. Zoma needs to go. So at this time, our limited 1 section should now look like Jinzo and Nightmare Wheel. Let's go ahead and make some changes to the limited 1 section here now. Floodgate Trap Hole to 1, Golden Ladybug to 1. It's essentially shadow bans Golden Ladybug.
It
Puts
does.
Floodgate to 1 and makes them choose between, Golden Ladybug, Jinzo, Floodgate, or Nightmare Wheel, and helps stop and slow down any of the burn decks that are now thinking, oh, well, I have access to Nightmare Wheel now in the 1-of section.
I also like that you're taking a card off limit at 3 and then still having it limited, right? The Floodgate.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, you're still going to be restricted to how many Floodgates you're going to get in your deck. But you're making the limited 3 section cleaner. It is so clogged right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good movement, I think.
I like that despite the, he took off offerings in Rhoda and banned Zoma. But now with adding these 2 cards, limited 1 is still a decision, right? Are you an aggro deck that wants to play Jinzo? Are you a very slow deck that wants to play Nightmare Wheel? Or maybe you want to play Floodgate if you're a slow deck, right? Maybe you want a control deck with Drillroid and you want to play Floodgate. Whatever it is, you have a decision to make based on what your deck is. So, or based on the meta, right? Is the meta very trap heavy? Then a lot of Jinzo will be there, right? So it's, I do like that there's still a decision there, and I don't, the Ladybug thing is what I don't know about. Is Ladybug still a problem with TP banned? I think, to me, is a real question worth asking.
That is a good question. Like, do you even need to touch Ladybug with No, I think you make the list cleaner, honestly, and just have Ladybug, you just free Ladybug.
Yeah, I think Floodgate,
I get the
Jinzo, and
argument,
Nightmare Wheel are fine.
I get the argument for limited 1 because it's annoying, right?
It is annoying.
And there are other skills you can use in a burn deck. Like looking in the future or something. But those decks in the past had 3 Nightmare Wheels and 3 Zomas with their looking into the future, right?
Right.
So now having no Zoma, 1 Nightmare Wheel, they can play Ladybugs. I don't care.
I also want to talk about the card advantage with Ladybug, right? So it's a dead card without TP, right? Yeah. It's a card that gives you life points, but as far as board control, it's dead. It does nothing. Sphere Kuribo can run over it if you set it.
Yep.
So, but with TP, it's the opposite of that. It is the reason you're getting 3 TP effects per duel, sometimes 4, right? And that is -4 for your opponent, straight up.
Yeah, I don't think Ladybug's that good with any other skill. So nope. You could probably just clean up the list even more than what he's doing. And
I don't think you need
Ladybug. You're free. Yeah.
Do you want Nightmare Wheel or do you want Floodgate Trap Hole? And if you take one of those, well, you can't have Ladybug to help play a stall game. So this takes care of a lot of those problematic cards. Very, very good. Our limited 3 section currently has Breaker, Warrior Lady, Cosmic, and MAR, Machine Angel Ritual. We're going to take Machine Angel Ritual. We're going to move it up to the limit 2 section, which is currently completely empty.
Okay.
This is what the list would look like if it wasn't for the fact that I want to add 2 new cards to the Forbidden and Limited list.
Okay. What do you think of leaving Breaker, Warrior Lady, and Cyclone all at 3?
Cyclone doesn't need to be on the list at all.
That's what I was thinking.
The thing about like DD Warrior Lady and Breaker on limit 3, you, as much as this goes against what I'm saying, is you want more than 2 cards on the limit 3 section. So what else do you put there? I think wall, personally.
Yeah, I could see it.
Like maybe limit 3 is like Warrior Lady. Breaker's starting to sound odd the more I say it.
Yeah, I'm not too thrilled with Breaker.
It's not that good.
I'm not gonna lie. Oh, and me, you, and Justice really have talked about this in the past on podcasts and stuff too. But something missed out, Curse missed on the Forbidden, is Waking the Dragon.
Oh yeah, okay, yes, yeah, definitely.
The high rolliness of that card.
Yeah, I would say free the Ladybug, or hell, put the Ladybug limit 3 too. Why not? But no, you can probably just free the Ladybug and ban the Waking. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the limit 3 section does get interesting at a point if you take too many cards off it. So I think you keep all on with the DD Warrior Lady, with the Breaker.
I can see the argument for keeping wall. Sure. Like a lot of decks don't need Warrior Lady or Breaker, right? So just you can play the wall if you don't need those cards.
Right. So like the point of a limited 3 list kind of falls apart as soon as there's only like 2 cards on it.
I agree. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because at that point it's saying, okay, you can only play 3 of this or 3 of this, or a mix.
Yeah. And I do think with us having like Night Beam, Galaxy Cyclone, Double Cyclone, Dust Tornado, Cosmic Cyclone doesn't do as much. Like, Ojama wants to use in standby phase, but Ojama's gonna play it anyway as their limit 3. You think they're gonna play Breaker or DD Warrior Lady? No, they're not. They don't care about those cards. So it doesn't really do anything here.
No, I don't think Cyclone does anything.
You don't think what?
No, I agree. I just don't think Cyclone needs to be on the list at all.
Yeah, no, anyway. I agree with putting Wall there instead of Cyclone. I think that's fine. I think Wall is too much of a game swinging card. I know it's kind of like the just play around it, but like, I don't know. I think it holds back decks with the ability to push with multiple monsters.
Yeah.
So it's like not unhealthy, but it's not like super healthy either. It's kind of like, it's like, okay.
Dragon in the Forbidden section and Cyber Angel Edatin in the Limited 2 section.
Okay.
Oh, he did ban Waking. Okay.
You see that? That's where let's just like go back so we can look here. Oh no, Cursive, you got it. Where's the exact moment? There it is. Oh, all right, we got it. We did it. I think the way Cursive's got it here, you don't really need a limit 2 section. Because if you take Golden Ladybug off, he did ban Waking. Are we blind?
Limit 2 Edatin,
he doesn't talk about
limit 2 Machine Angel Ritual, or limit. That is so harsh. I'm sorry.
I would just put the Machine Angel Ritual at 1.
What are you gonna do? Like, no, not the Machine Angel Ritual at 1. That's not. That's
put the Edatin at 1.
I gotta be honest. Like the way Konami did it is fine.
I think you can take 1 card and put it to 1.
And look, Cyber Angels are like playable right now. They're not oppressive. They're not topping in large numbers whatsoever. I mean, they're lucky if like 1 tops in top 8. So that's like perfectly healthy where they're at.
I don't think that's the point of it though, right? The point
they were taking up. But look, they were.
No, I know, but I don't think the point of it is the results, right? Like that's how the Speed Duel team thinks. They're like, top too much, kill it. I think it's the point of it is more like it's still like an OTK deck that creates a boss monster that there are not enough answers to in the format. That's the problem. So I think until the rest of our format has been power crept to a point where it is easier to compete with a protection engrave Izana, I think the deck should just be gone for a while, like Cocoon. Like, so that's why I say Machine Angel Ritual to 1 or Ida 10 to 1 if you want to go a little bit softer, where you don't get your full combo because you only have one Ida 10. Like, you have to summon a weak Izana.
Okay.
Then that's probably fine.
I'll allow is put Idaten to limit 1, but no other Cyber Angel name or card anywhere on the list.
Because that's
so
fine.
Now we're actually
what Idaten limit 1 does
a little harder,
yeah.
right? So instead of like being able to play, what is it, 2 Machine Angel Rituals and 1 Benten, you get 3 Benten, 3 Rituals, but 1 Idaten. Yeah,
right. So your Izana is almost always, unless you do it inefficiently, which you shouldn't. But usually, if you do the combo in the efficient way, it will be summoned at 25, which is a lot more beatable. Getting over 2,500 is a little bit easier than 35. And I'm exaggerating. It's a lot easier. So
yeah, know what you do. Sorry, you know what? They were close. It's what we said originally, like 2 months ago. You have limit 3 Machine Angel Ritual, limit 3 Idaten. That's what you do.
Yeah, I can see that too.
That's how you do it.
Yeah,
I think that's better.
So two rituals, 1 Idaten would be the build. And
like if you were gonna play it, yeah, that would be the build. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that might be too harsh. I think just 1 Idaten and giving you 3 rituals is probably fine.
But you have 3 Bentens too. So I don't think that's harsh. I don't think that's harsh enough.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
However, the way Cursive did it, he says, no one can play this deck at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how I would have done it, honestly. So you know what? Go ahead. Give us your opinion in the comments on Cyber Angels. Do you want the soft hit like Konami did, or what Drake's suggesting, which is replace Benten with Idaten on the limit 3 and leave the ritual there? Do you want my softer hit softer than Cursive's hit, which is just Idaten to 1? Or do you want Cursive's hit, which is just like, nope, no Cyber Angels. See you in 3 years.
No Cyber Angels allowed.
Yep. So, yeah, let us know what you think.
Idaten in the limited 2 section. Waking the Dragon is a stupid card.
Okay, he did get to it.
Skillless.
Yes. I saw it added to the list.
Yeah.
For getting their back row removed, and sure, you can make reads on Waking. You know, if you see a card sitting there for a long time, then you can be like, oh, well, that's probably a Waking. I'll never hit that. But there's always the chance that your opponent just, top decks a Waking in a losing situation, sets it face down, passes their turn, and you have...
Or you're an aggro deck. Your opponent goes first,
I already know.
Set a back row, and then pass.
I already know people in the comments are going to be like, Waking's fine. It happens every time we mention Waking.
It does.
There's always going to be people defending it. That's fine. But if you think that me end phasing a Dust Tornado to the card they just set is me playing badly, I'm sorry, you are wrong.
Yep. If you think me in Cyber Angels or Ojama or whatever, Cosmic Cycloning on the second turn of the game, so opponent went first, they sat back row. I'm trying to win this turn. Me playing Cosmic Cyclone on their only back row, which can prevent me from winning the game, is not wrong. I am an aggro deck. That is what I am built to do.
Well, Tara, you shouldn't play an OTK deck.
Yes.
Mine. I was just playing Joey. Okay.
We're just gonna gatekeep. We're just gonna gatekeep an entire style of play.
Whole archetype.
To protect Waking the Dragon.
Waking's fine, but you should not play powerful combo decks.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay.
Back row removal in your hand, and as you know, a good player, you think, okay, if I'm gonna swing in or go for lethal this turn, I should clear their back row.
Yeah.
Right? They could have, Wall of Disruption in this format. They could have Widespread Ruin. They could
think about playing Edison. If you play an aggressive deck in Edison, you get the Heavy Storm when your opponent has 2 or 3 back row. Okay. You're like, you're happy about that. You're like, wow, I can play heavy and then combo off without having to worry about bottomless, solemn, any of that TT, right? So why wouldn't it be the same thing here?
Let me tell you about this Yu-Gi-Oh card called Starlight Road.
Well, sure, but like that's a completely different story. Summoning a Stardust Dragon does not floodgate all your monster zones, right?
Exactly. No. Every time I see my opponent set like 3 cards in Edison, I'm like, okay, you probably have Starlight Road, and I'm gonna heavy storm this anyway. Because guess what? When you activate Heavy Storm into a Starlight Road, you don't lose the duel.
No, you don't.
It's a powerful punish, which I think is fine. But you don't just lose the duel. Like sometimes that's what happens when you waking or when you hit a waking. You just lose because you hit it.
Because Ojama King says you can't summon monsters.
So we always suggest like, well, there's Wild Tornado and there's Security Orb, and people are like, yeah, but those are too bad. Okay, so can't there be something in between?
Yes.
Waking and Wild Tornado? Yes. Can't there be something in the middle that is punishing, but you don't win the game or lose the game because of a waking?
There is. It's other than Night Beam. It does work on all the other back row removal, or End Phase Dust, I guess. Wabaku works sometimes. Right? Galaxy Cyclone, you chain Wabaku. Now you don't lose. You don't even lose your monster by battle.
Sure.
Right? Like there is. It's just it's a weak example. But
you were saying we already have stuff in the format that could be a response,
right? And I'm sure there's Yu-Gi-Oh has a card pool of 12,000 cards or something. I'm sure
something like that. So I'm saying, that's what I'm suggesting is they actually add in a punish. That isn't as harsh as waking, but is better than our other options.
Yeah.
That's what I'm suggesting.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
Possibly deal.
Sorry, Cursive, about that awkward pause scene.
With my
His eyes are like half closed.
And then you hit a waking and proceed
to
lose the game.
Why are we not full screen anymore? There we go.
Oh, we're back.
Should not be legal. Especially in speed duels, it can come back later.
We apologize for the technical difficulties.
Summoning an extra deck monster is like whatever. Waking needs to go. And the second thing is Cyber Angel Edatin being added to the limited 2 section alongside Machine Angel Ritual. This is speed duels, like I said before, not advanced format. The correct hit is not Ben 10 for us, but it is Edatin. Edatin is a ritual spell searcher. Edatin buffs your Izana, makes it huge, or can make any of your Cyber Angel monsters absolutely huge. And putting these both in the limit 2 section means either you play a deck with no Edatin, or you play a deck with 1 Eda, 1 Machine Angel Ritual, which is...
I was going to say no Edatin or no Ritual. I was like, what?
Way weaker.
You play all advanced ritual arts.
Currently have for Cyber Angels.
Advanced ritual art only, Blue Eyes only, Izana only.
That's hilarious.
This is the correct way to hit CAs to make them not a unfair OTK deck.
You made them unplayable.
This is what we should see from Konami if they want to create a good Forbidden and Limited list for speed duels. So
I gotta be honest though, I would be okay with it being unplayable for a while.
You guys could keep up with my
like it's not my preference, but I would be okay with it.
Rambling on there, but if you couldn't, here is what the new list looks like. In the Forbidden section, we have Cocoon of Ultra Evolution. I'm just going to attack Zoma the Spirit and Waking the Dragon. In the Limited 1 section, we have Golden Ladybug, Jinzo.
You want to pause it here?
Trap Hole.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, basically my final thoughts on his list. Cocoon banned. Okay, I'm just going to attack banned. Twisted Personality banned. Zoma Spirit banned. Waking the Dragon banned. This is all perfect.
The ban section is very good. Yeah.
That is, I exactly agree with that ban section.
Yeah, me too.
Limited 1. I think we can clean his list up and make it even smaller. Get that Ladybug off of there.
Yep.
Limited 1. We've got Jinzo, Floodgate, and Nightmare Wheel.
And
you get one of those.
And you could, one of the things we talked about, you could add Edatin to Limited 1.
You could add Edatin potentially, but
and then you can take off Limited 2. It just, you don't need it.
Yeah, that's very funny.
You don't need it.
There doesn't need to be a Limited 2.
There doesn't need to be one.
I mean, there's need to be cards on it currently.
Right. Yeah.
And then limited 3, I think you free Cosmic and you put Wall there.
Yeah, that's fine.
And if you go with my route, you also put Machine Angel Ritual and
Edatin. Yep.
Edatin. Yep.
Yeah, that's another option for CAs.
So
Nightmare Wheel. In the limited 2 section, we have Cyber Angel Edatin.
All right, he's just reading the list.
A net 10 cards off the list because we took off 12 and added 2.
Yeah, and with us taking off Ladybug, and we've taken 11 cards off the list then. So, like, yeah, it is very easy to clean this list up quite a bit.
yeah. Yep.
Additional ones on. This is 10 cards off the list. This makes the list way less bulky. The 3F section makes you feel like you have a tough choice, but isn't just every single staple in the format. The limited 2 section is just dealing with a deck, and the limited 1 section actually feels healthy. Most people are going to pick Jinzo, and the ones that aren't are playing a deck that we don't want to see, so we're essentially taking away 3 of their cards. I genuinely, wholeheartedly feel if we could see this list come out somehow after Streets of Battle City, we could possibly have a very, very interesting, very, very fun Speed Duel format.
We could.
But only time will tell. Maybe Konami.
I want to say also, if we could see amazing meta impacting cards in the Streets of Battle City, we could see a very fun, very interesting new format.
But I honestly think the list is more important than the card pool. They're both very important.
Yeah.
But I think the list is actually a bigger deal.
Yeah. I think
So it really needs, they really need to put some thought into the list for this next one.
Yeah.
They'll watch this video and listen to me. That's the dream. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, why don't you go ahead and leave a comment? Do you agree with my take on this list? Is there anything you would...
Wait, he's talking about our video. Yeah, leave a comment on our video.
Yeah, leave a comment in our video too. Do you agree with our takes on Cursive's takes? What are your takes? Everybody's got takes. So
everybody, except your waking takes. You want to talk about how you should hit Cyber Angels? You know, if you have a different idea than what we said, go for it.
Yep.
If you want to talk about waking,
you know what? You know,
I guess you can. I guess.
I mean, obviously you can. It's just we kind of know what's coming, so you know, bring it on. Anyway, I'm gonna go get some takeout, so we'll take you on later. Until then, Master Drake, we're out.